So we have, again, radicals and rational exponents. And let me zoom out here and we'll put this back just to remind us what we're doing. So when you have, if they're asking you to go from radical form into exponential form, you're going from this form out here, or this one, and into the fraction itself. So remember that if you have, you can have the m be next to the a in, or the root here, and then the n is always on the outside, or if they gave you parentheses with your radical inside, your n is here, it's always in front of the radical sign, and the exponent on the outside is your m. So that would be this guy right here. So if it's here, it goes here in the numerator, and this n is your denominator. Okay, so now we're going to go from radical into the exponential, and then we also will be, if there are numbers, we will be simplifying it down. Okay, so the one that we did in class, let's do that one again. Was this one right here. Okay, so this is, so you can, so we can do this two ways. So the first one that was your guys' instinct was to do the rule of multiply the exponents, but also remember that this 81 is to the first power. So when you multiply this times the half, this is 81 to the half power, and that's also being multiplied by m, and what's half of 6? Well, that's 3, m to the third power. So the m is technically already simplified down. We just have to do this one. So remember that the 1 is the in the numerator is the exponent that goes with the root inside the brackets. And then the 2 here is, we're taking the square root of that. So this is 81 to the first power, which is 81. What's the square root of that? That is 9. So your answer, when they ask you to simplify this, is going to be 9m cubed. So what is this really? What is 81m to the 6th raised to the half power? It's 9m cubed. And this would be you changing it from here, this, into actually solving it. So the other way that we were talking about doing this, let me rewrite the 81. So they gave you 81 m to the 6th, and then they said take half. So if having to do the exponent with the 81 is an issue for you, then you can do it a different way. Anytime you are multiplying things, not adding or subtracting inside a radical, but multiplying, you are technically multiplying 81 times m to the 6th power. And anytime you're doing that, you can split it. So we'll deal with this in a second, and we already know it's a square root. So you can do the square root of 81 times the square root. Now m to the 6th, the square root of this, if you just take this, is going to be, it's not going to work right. So what you have to do is go, okay, what makes this? I have an exponent of a 2. How many exponents of a 2 are in a 6? 3. M squared times m squared times m squared, and this was that first rule we did. If it looks like this, we add the exponents together. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is m to this. This right here is m to the 6th. So we're going to split it up. So we're going to do m squared times another square root of m squared times another square root of m squared. So what is the square root of 81? 9. What is the square root of m squared? M. What is the square root of m squared? M and another m. And remember, this is m times m times m, which is m cubed. And then we had the 9. And that's the answer we got in the first place. So this is what you have. This is eventually what your answer should be, 9m cubed. But you have a way of taking these and splitting them up. Now this right here is a concept that nowhere in schooling have you done yet, so I expect you to be confused at the beginning. Let's try a second one, and let's go back to the other one we did. We did this one on purpose, well, I did it on purpose with you because of the negative sign. That was what we did the other day. So the negative sign just says put me in the other part of the fraction. See how this is not already in fraction format, the 64n to the 12th? It's the same thing as like having that over 1. So if you're getting confused about what do you mean by where do I go in the other part of the fraction? It's just like if you have the number 3, well, that's not a fraction. So if I said this was 3 to the negative first power, what I'm doing is taking the 3 over 1 as a fraction and making the 3 go down to the bottom and having 1/3. So that's what eventually you're going to do. So your answer to this, like we did in 32, is going to end up in the denominator, because right now, like that, written like this, that means it's in the numerator. So you can do it like we did over here. You can do it this way, where you multiply the exponents and go that way, or you can split everything up. You decide what you're going to do. Okay, and I'll show both. Okay, so first of all, if we were to multiply these out, remember 64 is to the first power, because that's that invisible math. 1 times negative 1/6 is negative 1/6. So 64 to the negative 1/6 power multiplied now by n, and what is 1/6 of 12? Well, that is 2, but remember you still have a negative. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that this n squared is now, this negative sign says move me to the other part. So it goes down to the bottom, because remember this is like a word, so it's like it's over 1 if we change this into a fraction. So it says move me, and I move down here. This is also going to be a move me, so this answer is going to end up in the denominator. Remember, there's not a 0 on the top. It's the same thing as also multiplying this by 1. So when you move stuff, there's still a 1 in the top. So this is asking you, what times itself 6 times is 64? So use your calculator and use the buttons on your calculator to find where it has the X. So on your calculator, your button, you're looking for something that looks like this, where it has the radical sign and either has an X or a Y over here and not a 2 or a 3. Because that way you can put it in, and each calculator will be different on whether you put in the exponent first or last when you're doing this. And we can figure that out if you bring in your calculators. Okay, so when I do that, I want the 6th root of 64. And when you put it into your calculator, it's actually 2, because 2 times itself 6 times is 64. So when we calculate this out, and again, use your calculator, it's going to be your friend. And remember, this was negative 1/6. So it says, I know that the 6th root of 64 is 2. Now it says, move me. Move me. I'm already in the top, so now I'm in the bottom, and this is your answer. Another way you could have done this one, because I said I would do it more than once, so this is multiplying. What I can do is rewrite this like I did over there, like I did over here, where it's all separated. Okay, so we had, get the other one so I can see it. All right, so we had 64. We had an n to the 12th, and that was all raised to the negative 1/6 power. So that change, if you write it, so it's telling you to do the 6th root of the things inside, right? And remember that this negative means it's a fraction, so we put it in the bottom when we're done. So we can do the 6th root of 64 and multiply. Now, in this one, if we do the 6th root of this, it might be a little weird if you're looking at it going, wait, what is it? I think it's 2, but I'm not sure. Then double check it. So if you were to take these ends and separate them out to 6ths, so I have n to the 6th. How many do you have? If I have n to the 6th and I multiply by n, what exponent needs to go here? When you add them to make 12, another 6. So you have 2 of them. I know you were confused about this before. Oops, sorry, put the 6 in the wrong spot. Wait, no, I didn't. All right. So you are doing 6th roots, right? What is the 6th root? So this is already, n to the 6 is already n times n times n times n 6 times. So what is that? It's actually just n. 6th root of n to the 6 is n, So is this one? We have 2 of them. It's like 1 plus 1, which is 2. And then when you do this in your calculator, you find out this is 2. So you have 2n squared, but remember you had the negative that says move me, and this original problem over here was not already in fraction format. This was not in a denominator already, so it means it's in the numerator. So it means move all of that answer to the denominator. So instead of, so this, which is right now, would have negative, would say basically -1 here. That means move everything that's inside the parentheses, so really your answer is 1 over 2n squared. So try some of the other ones, put question marks next to things. I expect you to try some though. Put question mark next to things that are a little confusing.